What's up, guys? I'm Jamela Mustafa from BET Social, and I'm here with
David Oyelowo, and I'm pulling up.
Now, in this film, it is a dark comedy with a little bit of action and a little bit of trapping. This is when a law-abiding citizen takes a step on the dark side. Thanks so much, Mr. Oyelowo. So let me hop into it. So Selma was more serious. Martin Luther King, I mean, it was a movement piece.
Yeah.
This is straight comedy, and you were hilarious. So tell us a little bit about the process and what was it like on set?
Well, having played Dr. King and other, more dramatic roles, I wanted to switch it up, and this script came along, made me laugh so much, and that, indicated to me that it was something that hopefully the audience would find funny as well. But it was not written as a black character, it was actually written as a white character. His name was Harold Salinger originally, and I really wanted to do it. So I pursued the role, I went to the director, he embraced me as that character, and then we pushed it even further and made him a Nigerian immigrant. And so he's now called Harold Shoyinka in the film. And yeah, we had an amazing time shooting it in Mexico with some extraordinary actors as well, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, so in this film, you were paired with some awesome actors and actresses like Charlize Theron. Who is the funniest on set?
Oh, wow, that's a very good question. Charlize is incredibly funny, partly because she's so inappropriate, and she gets a lot of fun out of the fact that I'm quite naive in certain areas, and yeah, so she makes me laugh a lot. Joel was incredibly funny as well, but Sharlto Copley, who I play opposite quite a bit, he is amazing with improvisation, and a lot of our interaction in the film is based on the script, but we would riff on it and it would just come up with some great sort of hilarious scenes, and that was a lot to do with him.
Let's talk about, it's hard to do your job when you have a horrible boss, right? And in this film, I saw the eyes roll because your boss was nasty. He was two-timing, lying, backstabbing. I ain't even gonna talk about it.
All of
He's
it.
not a good friend nor a boss.
That's right.
In your real life, have you ever had a horrible boss, and how did you deal with them?
Oh, that's a good question. When I was a teenager, I worked for a very famous fast food company that will remain nameless.
Was it Mickey D? I ain't gonna say nothing.
Couldn't possibly say.
It's a lie.
And I would wash all the utensils in the back, and one day there was this brush by the sink, and it was an industrial brush, and I thought, oh, okay, I'll use that brush just to wash everything. And I finished all the utensils, and then my boss comes along and goes, why is that brush there? I said, well, I just saw it there. I used it to wash everything. He said, that's a toilet brush. And I said, I washed it, and they had already been using it to cook food. And he literally said, this stays between us. That's not a good boss. I should have been fired. I should have been fired. But yeah, so I don't eat at that famous food chain anymore.
So in the movie, you're a rep for a huge pharmaceutical company. And so I want to ask you kind of an off-the-wall question, but it's something that I think about often. Right. So if you could put a behavior or emotion in a pill, right? Like maybe empathy or maybe patience, what would you put in a pill form? Wow,
that's such a great question. The attribute I admire the most in humanity is self-sacrifice. And that's what it would be. Because I think if everyone was thinking about others more than themselves, the world would be an entirely different place.
What are your viewers and your audience and your fans gonna learn about you in this movie that they did not know about you before?
They will learn that I'm not Dr. King. I think that's certainly one thing, and that I love doing comedy. There's a lot of action in the film as well, and there's a little bit of social commentary. I wanted to play this role as Nigerian because I'm of Nigerian parentage, and I watched my parents as immigrants in the UK also have a kind of wide-eyed, hopeful attitude that people took advantage of, and that's what happens with Harold in this film. So it's very much rooted in experience. Yeah,
there was a lot of stealing in this movie. A lot of things were stolen in this movie, a lot of crime. What is one thing, if someone took from you, that you would lose it? You would go through hell and hot water to get it back.
Oh, wow. The thing you cannot touch in my life in any way is my 6-year-old daughter. Like, if you even stole her candy from her, we would have such a big problem. Like, that right there is just sacred in every possible way. So that's how to get me murderous.
So in the new movie, It, that's, well, no, A Wrinkle in Time, you're playing the voice of It. Yeah. What was it like playing something that's pure evil? Ava
DuVernay is like a sister to me, and we have basically determined that there is not going to be a single thing she ever directs that I'm not involved in some way. You know, we started with Middle of Nowhere, then we did Selma together, and now she's doing Wrinkle in Time. And so she basically coached me as to how, you know, the direction she wanted me to go. True evil actually is not what it may seem. Actually, true evil disguises itself, you know, and it comes at you in a way that is attractive. And so that is true evil, when you are able to worm your way into someone's space and then disseminate them. And so, you know, in many ways, that's what we try to do.
In this film, you mastered the scream. I mean, there was a lot of scream in this film. Now, is this something that you have to practice? Is this an inner? Where did this scream come from, David?
That's a good question. Well, one of the screams that you're describing.
One of them, okay.
Yeah, there's several. Is when I'm about to be injected by a tracking device. And this thing was the size of something you'd inject a cow with. And I'm not good with needles. Oh, okay. So the scream you hear in the film is what is actually going on inside whenever I'm being injected and I'm trying to play it cool. So I just let myself let it out for the film.
Now, what about the on the phone cigarette? What scream? Where did that scream come from? Because when you guys hear that, you'll know what I'm talking about.
You want all the grades of scream?
I just want to know about the cigarette one next, and then I'm done with the scream. It was levels to the
Well,
scream.
you know, part of acting is imagining what something would feel like. Can you imagine what it must feel like to have a cigarette burn on your wrist?
And you did it.
Well, thank you. I just did what I would imagine that trust me, I don't go method to the point whereby, you know what, let me just, you know, I didn't do that.
Oh my goodness. One last thing. So in the film, although it was a lot of comedy, and we say dark comedy because it was very raw, also there was such an element, an underline of betrayal in the film from a lot of different people who you were close to. In your character, he was not a pushover or a step over because you saw him kind of take the heroic step, but what is some similarities in how you deal with betrayal and maybe hurt in your character in your real life as well?
Well, the main theme of the movie is, does it pay to be good? And you watch the character really question that, because I think, you know, indisputably, he's a good person, and that's why people are able to take advantage of him. And you see him on that knife edge of he could go one way or another, but he chooses the path that personally I would choose. Even though people may betray you, people may do wrong by you, ultimately I would want to believe that I will stay in the place of being a good person, because I think that will and does pay in the long term. And so that basically is the journey you see. And that's what I saw in the script that really drew me to it. I felt, you know, this is, yes, it's an action comedy, it's fun, it's a fun ride, but ultimately it's also a kind of a morality tale about, you know, should we be good or should we go to the dark side?
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for pulling up. I'm Jamila Mustafa. This is David Oyelowo, and he just pulled up with BT Social.